Hey, folks, welcome back to the Rugby Ascendant segment of Chris Wyatt Africa and the Rugby Ascendant channel. This is Chris in Central Pennsylvania, and my guest today is from Rugby ATL, Rugby Atlanta. And let's see if I can pull off this surname. It shouldn't be too hard, but we'll try it. So this is Lincoln. Is it pronounced C or Sia?
Sii.
Sii. I had a feeling you had to pronounce that second one. So it's Lincoln Sii. My apologies for getting it wrong, Lincoln. Welcome to the program.
Thanks for having me, sir. Thank you.
So let's get right into this. That is clearly not a Samoan accent. That sounds like a West Coast accent. You're from California, aren't you?
Yes, sir. San Diego. Born in Japan, but raised in San Diego.
So born in Japan, but what's your ethnic heritage? Is it Samoan or Japanese? Or
So my dad is Samoan and my mom is Tongan. But my dad was in the Navy, and then he met my mom over in Japan. And then,
and the rest unfolded from there. Okay. So we get a geography lesson here by getting Lincoln on today, but the Japan kind of threw me off. Okay. So Pacific Island heritage. Okay. That's interesting. Cool beans. Have you ever actually been to Tonga or to Samoa?
No, sir. Ever since I was born in Japan, I straight up moved from Japan to San Diego, and then never left the country ever since.
Well, as far as things go, I mean, if you're going to be from someplace, I mean, San Diego is not a bad place to be from.
Right. It's beautiful.
Now, you are one of these guys that didn't start out in rugby. You actually started in football, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct? You played offensive and defensive lineman?
Yes, sir.
Did you have a preference? Then, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, sorry. And then I started my senior year in high school.
Did you for rugby? That's when you started rugby, senior in high school.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
So when you played football, did you have a preference, offensive or defensive lineman? I'd always think I'd want to be the defensive lineman so you can rush the quarterback and take out running backs in the backfield.
Yeah. So it was defense, and then my senior year, there's like, no, we're gonna move you just straight to offense. So, and I was like, whatever, whatever it is, I can do to make the field. So that's cool.
Well, that's got to be a big change, though. I mean, it's a very different philosophy. Now you're trying to protect the line, and instead of trying to puncture it, so a little bit different.
Right, and then technique and everything was different. I mean, it took me a while because especially my junior year too. I got hurt in the preseason, and then I was out for the year, and then right when I came back, that's when they wanted me to make that transition to offense, but. It was just to also help out with my shoulder because that was the thing I hurt. But I feel like it was all for the better though, because it definitely changed my mentality about everything. And then also my work ethic also changed that too. But yeah.
Well, you mentioned that you had to change technique. I mean, obviously, it's very different techniques to getting leverage, and of course, when you're defensive tackle or defensive end, you're trying to tackle, but an offensive lineman not supposed to be tackling. So you really got to make an adjustment there. Did that adjustment and learning that in high school in your senior year, did that have any impact on your development as a rugby player? Learning how to address the game differently? Did it carry over in any way?
Yeah, I think so. Just. Yeah, it was just more of trying to come at the game a different way. Also observing the game from a different point of view than what I would, if I was on defense. But yeah, definitely has.
So what got you to rugby? I mean, I know why I found rugby. I was a freshman in college, and then upperclassmen said, "You coming to the game tonight?" I'm like, "The game's tomorrow." He's like, "Not football, rugby." I'm like, "Man, I'm from a place where we're just happy to have electricity and paved roads. We don't really have rugby in Appalachia." He's like, "No, you'll have fun." And so I went to the game and I enjoyed it. But you started actually playing in high school. I mean, did someone introduce you and say, "Hey, you should come out and this is kind of cool"?
Yeah. So my junior year when I got hurt, I got really big, like really fat. And then when football season, my senior year ended, my dad said he wanted me to do something because he didn't want me to get fat again. So I was like, okay, well, I think I'm gonna try rugby out because my city was sending out emails, like just tryout emails. And I was like, we've been watching this game, ever since I was young, but I never really got the chance. So I think I'm gonna try it out. But my dad said no, because he didn't want me to get hurt again. So he just wanted me to do track. But then I snuck out. I went to rugby practice, and then I loved it. And then I came and I told him, I was like, hey, you may not like it, but I'm gonna do it. And then, but now, my dad's full support. Definitely, like one of my top supporters right now, him and my mom. But yeah.
So does your dad, does he pull for the Samoan side in international tests? Your mom pull for Tonga? And what happens when they play each other?
When they play each other, I try to stay neutral. I try to say, like whatever team scores, I'm supporting.
Way to go! Way to go!
Yeah. But especially like these past few tests, it's been kind of feisty back home. But
no doubt. And now Samoa is just qualified by knocking out Tonga. So in the aggregate score. So I think Tonga still has a chance to qualify in the Ray Pods or something like that. But because they were in the last one. In fact, I was in Japan at that game when I thought the Eagles are going to win in Osaka, and Tonga stole that game in the second half. I'm not happy. Still not happy about that game. But they earned the game. They played it very well. So listen, you really just destroy the myth that athletes don't really put their mind to education. You have a degree in electrical engineering. Is that correct?
Yes, sir. Yes.
Well, it's not exactly sports medicine or, underwater basket weaving. That's a degree. It takes a bit of application and effort there. So what got you interested in engineering? I mean, is it something that's inspired you, or is it just something you want to try out?
Yeah. So my junior, of course, it was a pretty big year, I guess. But I was taking physics, and one of the units was electrical, like wiring, like engineering stuff. Mm-hmm. And so my teacher, he just bought a bunch of electrical engineering kits, and then he was just handing them out. He's like, just do whatever you want. And then it came with like a little training manual, like of like projects I could do. And then I just fell in love with that.
Oh, that's really cool. So you were kind of inspired by a teacher in high school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Excellent. Well, that's kind of why I became a historian and a political scientist, because same sort of thing. Teachers in high school inspired me. People don't realize what a big impact your teachers can have on you in high school. And look at that. You went into electrical engineering, and that's so will you one day, or are you already doing this? Are you going to use that degree in some way, or are you going to make use of it?
Oh, yes. That is the plan. Definitely. Like once my career is done, jumping straight into that. Because like that is something I still have a passion for, mm-hmm. and I do want to do that.
Well, listen, I know where a lot of universities and colleges in this country happen to be located at. Now, this one I'm not familiar with. I've heard of it before, but I'm going to guess where it's at, and I could get it wrong. You went to Grand Canyon University. Is it a fair assumption that's in the state of Arizona, or is that wrong?
Yes, sir. Yes, it is.
Okay.
Like most people think it's in the bottom of the Grand Canyon, but it's not.
Yeah, I find that hard to believe it's in the bottom. But yeah, so whereabouts in Arizona is that at?
It's in Phoenix, Arizona.
Okay. The Valley of the Sun, or as I prefer to call it in the summertime, the Valley of Death.
Yeah, yes. It's really, really
brutal hot there. So what was that like, your undergraduate experience and getting that electrical engineering degree, other than the fact it's really hot in Phoenix?
It was awesome. Just the amount of family or friends that I've met, mm-hmm. Especially right now. Like I'm still getting texts from old teammates and old friends back home. Saying like how I'm doing, and especially like when I made my debut, everyone said to me congrats, and even because like since I started rugby so late, and then I went there, and then I just built my Rugby IQ there, and then because like everyone was just helpful, always making sure that everyone's on the same page and making each other better. And even coming to ATL, it's the same exact thing. Everyone's always making sure that everyone's getting better, putting in the work and everything.
Well, you signed with the with ATL, Rugby ATL, with the 404 program and for the development program. What's that like for you? I talked to a few guys that are involved with that, and they think it's a really impressive activity.
With the 404, sir?
Yes.
404 is a crazy jump. Going from college straight to 404, I didn't think it'd be I thought it'd be better. The competition would be better, but I didn't think it'd be as much of a jump as I thought it was. But I loved it too, because it definitely taught me a lot more rugby IQ wise, and then also scrumming or set piece wise. I thought I knew what I had enough to get by, but coming to the 404 is very humbling. It taught me that I still have a long way to go, but with the teammates here and the coaches here, they're willing to help out, to help me out. Like to continue making that step forward.
Well, it's interesting what you say there. You use the phrase rugby IQ, and we hear that a lot from professional rugby players. I think a lot of athletes in other sports think that they may admit that they learn things as they go along, but I think rugby athletes seem to be a lot more humble when it comes to the fact that you can always learn more about the game. In fact, I talked to a couple players in Rugby ATL who got shifted from one position to another, and like Tay on the team there, he shifted in the backfield from one position on the wing into the center there, and he said he really got a whole new appreciation for the game. So it seems like as a professional rugby player, players are focused on always improving their game and learning. And that phrase rugby IQ, I really like it. And I like your application of it there as an electrical engineer. Clearly you're a guy that can think pretty clearly. So, this concept of rugby IQ and always improving your game. So now you're a professional athlete. And what's that like? Is it cool to be a professional athlete? I've been an athlete my whole life, but never a professional one. Nobody ever paid me to do it.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. It's crazy to think that like I'm getting paid to do what I love and like what is fun, like something, in high school, like it was funny. One of my teammates said like, we're getting paid to play a kid's game. And, it's just, it's fun to wake up every day and just do a job that you love.
Well, and interesting enough, Rugby ATL has quite the fascinating culture there too. They've really merged a lot of folks. They've taken a lot of South Africans. I think I think I told another one of the athletes, there's like 37,000 South Africans on your team. It's just a lot of South Africans. And there's Kiwis, there's Canadians, there's lots of Americans, and a Samoan, and then people with Samoan heritage as well. So you got the missile, you got yourself, that mixed Samoan Tonga heritage. So it's a really fascinating mix of people in the culture. Do you learn anything from the other players on the team about where people come from and then that kind of life they've had, or no?
I didn't realize, I'm just learning about South Africa, and then Ireland, from some of the Irish guys, just how different life is, and also how different are like everyone's upbringings were, from rugby to just life in general. But it's really cool to see, like it's a real eye opener to seeing just like the blending of cultures here. But
it is pretty cool. Now we're all Homo sapiens, we're all humans, but definitely growing up, say in Japan versus San Diego versus Appalachia versus South African Ireland, very different. And I agree with you. It's fascinating to learn about other people's experiences growing up. So are you going to stick with this gig as long as you can? Are you enjoying this professional rugby ride?
Oh, yes, sir. Yes, I am enjoying it 110%.
Excellent. Well, congratulations on playing professional rugby and being with Rugby ATL, a team that's in the conference final this weekend against Rugby United New York. And fingers crossed, maybe a victory, things come out well, and then play against either LA or Utah, both teams that have been beaten previously by Rugby Atlanta. So congratulations on that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Well, thanks a lot, Lincoln, for joining us here on Rugby Ascent. It's a pleasure to chat with you. And I'm going to do this again and mess it up, but I think you said you pronounce it Sia, or is it CA? How did I get it wrong?
CE.
CE. See, I got it wrong. My apologies. So Lincoln Sii, it's a pleasure to have you on the team. Best of luck in your rugby future, and hopefully we'll get you back on sometime.
All right. Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
Cheers. Take care.
Cheers. Thank you.